The South China Sea is a global crossroads, a vital artery for international trade where trillions of dollars worth of goods pass through each year. Its waters are not only rich in resources like fish and energy reserves, but also serve as a strategic lifeline for many nations, making it one of the world's most contested maritime regions. But China's sweeping nine-line claim has upended the region's balance, redrawing boundaries and challenging the sovereignty of its neighbors. This controversial claim covers nearly the entire sea, overlapping with the exclusive economic zones of several Southeast Asian countries. For over a decade, Beijing has used gray zone tactics, deploying Coast Guard ships and maritime militia disguised as fishing boats to harass and intimidate its neighbors. These forces operate just below the threshold of open conflict, making it difficult for other countries to respond without risking escalation. They ram vessels, use water cannons, and form blockades, often targeting civilian fishermen and supply ships. These aggressive maneuvers disrupt livelihoods and send a clear message: China is willing to assert its claims by any means short of war. This makes daily life perilous for other claimants, especially the Philippines and Vietnam, whose fishermen and coast guards face constant danger and uncertainty. Many local communities now live with the daily threat of confrontation at sea. The goal: exhaust rivals into abandoning their outposts not through war, but relentless pressure and psychological fatigue. By wearing down their resolve, China hopes to gain control without firing a shot. Yet since 2021, this campaign has lost momentum. China's once relentless presence has become less overwhelming, and its tactics are no longer going unchallenged. Southeast Asian nations now document, counter, and resist China's tactics, refusing to be bullied. They have increased patrols, shared intelligence, and brought international attention to each incident. Instead of quiet dominance, China's strategy has sparked regional resolve and international scrutiny. The world is watching, and the South China Sea remains a flashpoint where the balance of power is being tested every day. The Philippines' approach to the South China Sea underwent a dramatic transformation with the inauguration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in 2022. Unlike his predecessor, Marcos Jr. signaled a clear break from the previous era of cautious diplomacy and ambiguity. Abandoning years of passivity, Manila began to actively defend its maritime rights. The government invoked the landmark 2016 arbitral ruling, which had invalidated China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea, and made it a central pillar of its foreign policy. The Philippine Coast Guard resumed regular patrols near the contested Scarborough Shoal, and dramatically increased the frequency and transparency of resupply missions to the BRP Sierra Madre at 2nd Thomas Shoal, this time inviting journalists on board to document every encounter. This assertive transparency exposed China's quiet coercion to the world, turning what was once a shadowy standoff into a source of global embarrassment for Beijing. At the same time, the Marcos administration invested heavily in upgrading military infrastructure in the Spratly Islands, building new facilities and reinforcing existing outposts. These moves signaled a long-term commitment to defending Philippine interests. China miscalculated. Instead of forcing Manila into submission, its pressure campaign only galvanized Philippine resolve and sparked a wave of public support for a tougher stance. Manila's new assertiveness also opened the door for greater international cooperation, especially with allies like the United States, Japan, and Australia, who welcomed the Philippines' willingness to stand up to China. The Philippines made it clear to the world that it was prepared to bear significant risks to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity, no matter the cost. This bold shift in policy set the stage for a powerful regional backlash against China's expansionism, reshaping the balance of power in Southeast Asia and ushering in a new era of assertiveness for the Philippines. 2nd Thomas Shoal became the flashpoint, with China intensifying its blockade of the BRP Sierra Madre from early 2023. Dozens of Chinese ships swarmed every Philippine resupply attempt, using ramming and water cannons to inflict damage and injuries. China's aim: starve out the outpost and force a withdrawal. In June 2024, violence peaked. Chinese personnel boarded Philippine boats brandishing weapons and injuring sailors. The crisis nearly triggered the US-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty. A fragile de-escalation followed, but China failed to seize the shoal. The Philippines repaired the Sierra Madre, and international support surged. China's campaign backfired, exposing its aggression and strengthening Manila's position. China's aggression prompted a unified response from the US and its allies. Washington reaffirmed its defense commitment, ramping up joint military exercises and patrols with the Philippines. New security frameworks emerged, including a US-Japan-Philippines trilateral and the Squad with Australia. Manila diversified partnerships, signing access agreements with Japan and negotiating with other key partners. Over 28 countries now demand China comply with the 2016 Hague ruling. This web of alliances complicates China's calculations and isolates it diplomatically. Beijing's coercion has produced the very coalition it hoped to prevent. Beyond the Philippines, Southeast Asian nations quietly defend their maritime rights. Indonesia continues energy projects in the North Natuna Sea, protected by its navy despite Chinese harassment. Malaysia's Petronas drills record numbers of wells near contested waters, undeterred by China's Coast Guard. Vietnam presses ahead with drilling in the Nam Con Son Basin, shielded by its own forces. These nations prioritize economic sovereignty over Chinese intimidation. Their collective defiance blunts China's gray zone campaign, showing a united regional front. China's strategy was designed to divide Southeast Asia, exploiting old rivalries and differences between nations. But instead of fragmenting the region, Beijing's assertive moves have had the opposite effect. They have unified Southeast Asian countries like never before, pushing them to set aside disputes and work together in the face of a common challenge. This unexpected unity has also drawn in global allies, with countries like the United States, Japan, and Australia stepping up their support. Beijing's pressure has forced it to react to multiple fronts at once, spreading its forces thin across the vast South China Sea. The number of patrols at key features and contested reefs has surged dramatically, but this increased activity is a sign of anxiety, not dominance. Notably, Chinese patrols at Second Thomas Shoal dropped sharply after the failed blockade attempt, as local resistance and international attention mounted. The region's resistance, now backed by unprecedented international support, has forced China to reconsider its tactics and recalibrate its approach. The South China Sea has become a global test of the rules-based order, with US-Philippines ties growing stronger, new security groupings emerging, and regional defiance on full display. These are all direct results of China's overreach and aggressive tactics. Instead of achieving dominance, China now faces a more unified, determined, and capable opposition, one that is prepared to defend its interests and uphold stability in the region. The South China Sea has reached a turning point. China's gray zone campaign collided with unexpected unified resistance. The Philippines' assertiveness, especially under Marcos Jr., became the linchpin of this new reality. Violent confrontations only hardened regional resolve and drew in US and allied support. New security partnerships and diplomatic coalitions have raised the costs of Chinese aggression. The future remains contested, but China's ambitions are now checked by a coalition determined to uphold a free and open maritime order. The South China Sea's fate is now shaped by collective will, not unilateral coercion.